All right, so now that we got that out the way, you know what I'm saying? Now let's talk about, what happened basically last night, you know what I mean? Like we'll start with the Clippers and what happened with, the Clippers and the Portland Trailblazers. And this is one thing too, before I even get into that, I wish that the NBA would start doing something where, you know how they have TNT games and it's going to be like this guy's about to be injured and they know like the day before, they know early. Like I wish they could just, especially now that they're not physically traveling to that place, I wish that they could just on the fly like switch the TNT game to Portland and the Clippers. That's more of a more of a game. But now it did work out. It came to a clutch game for Golden State and Milwaukee. But that's something I always wish that they could just do. Like when the mans are like Giannis is gonna be injured and this person isn't playing, switch the TNT game if there's another game that's on that caliber of play. And this was like a healthy Clippers team, healthy Portland. Obviously Nurkic didn't play, but it was more so of a marquee matchup, just in my eyes. Watching it. Now, the outcome obviously will say something different, but outcomes don't mean it's a marquee matchup or not. Outcomes is besides the point. The point is, like, this would have been the better TNT game in terms of, like, just marquee. Obviously, like I said, Golden State, it came down to a clutch situation. But anyways, I always thought about that. But, now that we passed that, it was the Clippers and, the Clippers were home versus the Portland Trailblazers. And this was, Rondo. Rondo has been, I think 2 games now he's played. Ibaka still isn't healthy and isn't back yet. But, Pat Bev returned. And DeMarcus Cousins made his debut. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to see, and I will talk about it and it'll come full circle, but a lot of things now, like the Clippers have become better by addition, subtraction, and by addition. So I'll explain what I mean by that. But, like, you're seeing a whole, like, Pat Bev actually might be the most important player and the most crucial player for the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? And I know, what are you talking about? Like, obviously, I already know Kawhi is the main guy. If Kawhi's not eating, the chances that the Clippers go to work or the Clippers win is still, like, it decreases. We already know that. We already know that the star player and the superstar player, and that's the main guy, and he's going to be the one who's creating and getting buckets if you love it. You know what I'm saying? But what I mean by Pat Bev being one of the most crucial players and most impactful, I should say most impactful. He might be the most impactful player on this team. The reason why I say that is because when he plays, the defensive intensity just automatically increases. Because he's literally their defensive specialist. He is that guy. He is like their defensive player of the year for that team. Like, we know Kawhi plays defense. We know Paul George. We know all of that type of stuff. But if you notice, when Pat Bev plays defense and he takes the challenge of, like, guarding, like in this game versus Portland, guarding Damian Lillard, right? When he focuses on that, and he's not an offensive player, so he literally just straps up. And he has added a tray ball where he could hit it at a decent rate and a good rate. Like, he's been a knockdown shooter, right? But he's the ultimate 3-and-D guy. So now that he's actually guarding intensely on that player, and then the other players feed off of his energy, off of what he's dictating defensively, and they're seeing him strap up. Every man gets amped, every man rotates harder, every man closes out harder, every man helps each other harder, swings harder. Like, it's just the intensity on defense is just, you just feel that energy. Like, you could feel it even just watching through the TV. They are more on a string. They're defensively talking. They're defensively intense. They try more. All these factors. And that's what happens with the Clippers. They look like a complete different defensive team. Obviously, what they did was they were double teaming Damian Lillard in spots and forcing him, because that's what's been the knock with, because Dame's been shooting from hella deep, and with these pick and rolls and the actions that they run, you see a lot of the times teams, when they want to stop Dame, they just double him excessively and force the ball out of his hands, and then CJ has to cook and everybody else has to cook through one-on-ones and stuff like that. And that's what you saw from the Portland Trailblazers. But like, Damian Lillard went, what did he go? He went 2 for 14, right? So he obviously struggled, but he only took 14 shots. Powell took 18 shots. Covington took 13. You know what I'm saying? CJ took 15. And Anthony Carmelo took 10. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the reason why it's that dispersed like that is because of the double teaming and the padding and the aggressive defense they did on Damian Lillard, which was elite, and it started from Pat Bev's energy, right? And just the scheme, overall. But what I mean by Pat Bev being the most important player or most crucial, impactful player for the Clippers is that there's so many different layers to that statement, right? And what I mean by that is that again, one thing is the defensive intensity and all that I just talked about defensively, what he increases and they go to a whole new echelon defensively. Then not only that, this is one of the main reasons why they were able, forget Luke Kennard and whatever, they were able to actually trade Lou Will because they had a vision. They had a vision that when Pat Bev comes back, our replacement sixth man now is actually going to be Reggie Jackson. And that's what you're seeing now. Now everything starts to fill out rotation-wise, play style-wise. Not mainly play style-wise, but just rotation and who is playing those minutes. Now everything settles in, and then now you kind of know what's going to happen. What I mean by everything settle in, Pat Bev now starts. Now you take Reggie Jackson out of the starting lineup. He literally becomes what Lou Will is supposed to be. Like, he's actually right now being the better version of Lou Will. You see him eating, you see him scoring, and it's not just him scoring, it's how he's scoring. He's ball handling scoring. He actually makes and passes. You know what I'm saying? He can ISO and cook, whatever. He's actually hitting spot ups. He's hitting shot create, pump fake, one dribble to the side, step back, escape dribbles. Like, he's actually scoring Arsenal buckets. Not only that, he actually plays defense. He actually can lock up. He's not a liability. So, you literally take in what you envision and what the best version of what Lou Will could actually be. That's what Reggie Jackson has been. And he's been doing that in the starting lineup. But now you have more hierarchy with your starting lineup. You know what I'm saying? Just normal, regular stuff. Obviously with the Pat Bev, PG, Kawhi, who started. It was a Marcus Morris, I'm pretty sure. Marcus Morris, and then Zubac. So you have your regular starting lineup. You do your sets how you normally do. There's not no playmaker. Like, you do what you normally do. Play through Kawhi, play through PG, Pat Bev spot up, all that type of stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But defensively, they're on a whole new echelon. So now they get bare buckets in transition, and you're not even in half court a lot of the times. Now you're seeing them getting back to regular tempo. You're seeing them shoot. That's why they had 133. You're seeing them shoot in the first half of the shot clock. You're seeing them shoot multiple threes. It's not slow ISO every play. You're seeing multiple actions, a lot of mixes. PG pick and roll here. You know what I'm saying? Kawhi pick and roll here. Kawhi ISO. PG ISO. PG off screens. All of that type of stuff, because now their energy, they're not the ones have to lock up the main guy on the perimeter on defense. They can focus now on getting buckets and just being roam defensively, switchability, all that type of stuff, as opposed to exerting so much energy defensively, because Pat Bev isn't there to do that. And that unlocks them offensively and unlocks their transition and unlocks their bench unit, because now Reggie is coming off the bench and he's being that Lou Will. Then you add the fact, so that's why he's so like important when you look at just Lou Will. When you look at Pat Bev, and that's why he just unlocks so many different layers to this team that people didn't think about, people didn't actually foresee, and they didn't think on that level. So now Luke Kennard drops out the rotation, right? Terrence Mann drops out the rotation, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of that type of stuff. Well, he's still in the rotation, but not like he's not relied on to do this and play this kind of bulk of minutes. A lot of stuff settles out. The role players go to a lesser role, and now everything fills out because one player gets inserted. And that's the kind of context and the kind of eliteness that the Clippers were missing from just Pat Bev's presence and just him being in the rotation. So now you look at that, and then now, you add another fact with Rondo. Like I told y'all, Rondo's addition isn't a great addition in terms of, let me rephrase that for some of y'all just be, oh my God, what are you saying? Rondo's addition is a great addition, but it's not a great addition in terms of the type of tier that people think and expect it to be on. Like, Rondo was like, remember when I told y'all before that the Clippers never needed a playmaker, like people were trying to say. It was always Cap, and I always told y'all, like, you even see when Rondo's out there, he runs the ball sometimes, and runs pick and roll, and he does the intangible things, obviously, but he's not just killing and playmaking and frying and whatever. Like, you see him, he's not even playing hella impactful, like, bare minutes like that. You see him, he's playing, how many minutes did he play? 15 minutes, 1 for 4, you know what I'm saying? 1 assist, 2 rebound, stuff like that. Like, 2 points. Like, he's doing he's there for intangibles, smarts, that's what he's there for. He's not there to what people thought that he would be there, which is play, make, and do X, Y, and Z. And I told y'all, even when Rondo's out there, you're going to see him now be in the corner. You're going to see him be spotting up. He's not just going to be playmaking, and that's what the Clippers need. Their offense literally has not changed with Rondo being there. But and Rondo there with the intangibles, you'll see in certain moments, in certain, like, flow-wise, You'll see in certain moments he has IQ and he'll run the pick and roll, hit Kawhi on the move. He's not just ISOing. Now you see more mixes. You're seeing more mixes in terms of flow with Kawhi when he's playing there with him, when he's playing with PG. You're seeing more flow. It's not the same thing every single time. It's not just Kawhi do the same, set every single time. PG do the same set every single time. It's just you two. It's not like that. Now you have Reggie Jackson on ball handle. They push the tempo. We go and we just kill. You see Kawhi and PG in the corner. Or if it's, PG off the bench or is on the bench and Kawhi's with the end of the first quarter. Now you see Rondo's there with Reggie Jackson and Rondo will come down and do the pick and slip and whatever and just read and react intangible. Hit a guy. Kawhi just cut into the rim, dying him, like intangible type of things. Drawing foul in those situations. Like, it's not the same flow. Now you're seeing mixes. And that's what also makes the Nets so dangerous because it's mixes. It's not the same thing every time. You know what I'm saying? They have multiple mixes. They have multiple offensive, multiple sets, multiple arsenals. You know what I mean? Versatility. They can do anything. And that's why you see the percentage so high because you think you stop this, we'll go to this. You think you stop this, we go to this. There's so many different things. And that's what the Clippers were lacking in terms of, just everything in the grand scheme. Now everything fills in and Rondo does help that flow. Intangibles is what Rondo is there for. So that's why I say for me, it's a great addition because now those mixes are going to be important, especially come playoff time, right? And Rondo obviously will go to a higher tier too, but that Rondo people are expecting and the type of help and the type of, playmaking he's going to do and that they need a playmaker. If they really needed a playmaker, shouldn't Rondo be starting? That tells you that it's not as important as people make it seem. It's just a boost. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was always trying to tell everybody, that it's a bonus. It's not a necessity. So when you look at it from that perspective, I definitely like what I saw from the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? I like what I saw most definitely. I also, DeMarcus Cousins made his debut. DeMarcus Cousins, right? He's on a 10-day. And, he could do a lot of boosts, especially playoff time with the bench unit, going ISOs and doing certain things. He could pick and pop. So that does affect, maybe Zubac. And we don't know how they're going to look maybe with Ibaka coming back. Because remember, the Ibaka factor is also a big benefit too. Like, he makes their offense even way more potent than, that has been now that he hasn't been there, right? So there's so many different factors, but they have a lot of weapons. Like, the team that I saw last night is definitely a team that you could see coming out the West. You know what I'm saying? That team is a great team. But the only knock that I have for the Clippers is that, I never think or never thought that if you get the type of Clippers you expect to get, they could blow out a team and kill a team. You know what I'm saying? That's never been the issue. The issue was, how do you look when it matters in the clutch? That's always what I need to see. I need to see that from the Clippers before I make my assessment. That's why I always went to a 5 worry out of 10. I didn't go to a 7, 8. Oh my God, it's over. Like some people did. That's why I was saying y'all are overreacting to that extent. But at the end of the day, just have some kind of caution, have some type of worry because it is 5, right? So it's not hella, but it's enough to basically say, I need to see some more evidence in the clutch. I need to see how y'all move. I need to see, because that's most 9 times, 8 times, 7 times out of 10 what you're going to see in the playoffs. Is it's going to be a clutch situation? So, when you look at it from that perspective, it was a great win, obviously. And again, too, you have to remember that the Portland Trailblazers are a good, solid team. They're above average team. There's games when they're hitting, they're hella elite. And then when they're not hitting, that's the problem with the Portland is that when they're not hitting, their defense isn't elite enough to actually get them by to be in a close game. If they're not hitting and you could always score on them. So it's like, do you really take that much from the Clippers in this game? Because they're not, like, when they go through struggles, how can you can't really test your actual team. You know what I'm saying? If they come out struggling, it's normally a wrap for the Blazers. They come out struggling, especially Dame. So, you look at it from that perspective, that's a great win, but I still need to see more from the Clippers. But I do like what I saw, and especially Reggie Jackson. Like, he's forget about Kennard. Forget about all that shit. Pat Bev is back. Reggie Jackson moves like this, coming off the bench. You don't even, because Kennard still has that defensive liability, right? Like, either Reggie or Kennard. If Reggie's struggling, then throw in Kennard, right? So you have multiple options. So, like, they have 2 6-mans basically now when you think of it, instead of Lou Will. And sometimes you have to, that's what the best teams do, read and react in terms of on the court and from the GMs and coaching standpoint, read and react. Lou Will is struggling. He's looking fugazi, flipping for Rondo. and then put Reggie Jackson and improve Luke Kennard and let them be the 6-man type guys, right? So, like, you have to read and react. Sometimes, yes, you came in the Louisville that you once saw before they came in with the Clippers and all that. That hasn't been the Louisville with this elite Paul George and Kawhi. It hasn't been. So, or without Trez. So was Louisville only elite because of Trez? You don't know. But at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't stoop to that level and say that. But still, you have to update your information. You can't harbor on history. You can't harbor on the fact that Louisville has been this. What is he showing you now? What is Reggie showing you now? What is Luke showing you now? Update your information and make decisions based off of the read and react KYP situation. So I like what they did. And, at the end of the day, is a great improvement. So now that we look past that,